Hello, folks. I hope you are doing well. Well, as usual, we are streaming today the Bitcoin market analysis. Um, Actually, today it's a very boring day, a trading boring day, actually, because I was checking the data to figure out if I can detect something useful to predict the next trend, but as you can see with our current volume, something is going to happen very soon because that's a pattern. Every time when the volume declines in such way, we are close to have a big move. And that's usually, and we have weekend, of course. But yeah, the market looks like it's not really active today. I don't really get why that's the case, but we will see. Let us start as usual also with the wealth ratio. Something I have noticed today, and that's not bullish at all. The wealth ratio daily view is yeah, rising again. We have to see if it's rising further, hitting 0.65. That would be a very high level. However, as you can see, even the bottoms are higher lows. I mean, they maintain a sell pressure. And we are noticing that as soon as we try to push up, they start to rise the sell pressure. And we have received good inflows in the last few days. Even today it wasn't that bad. We will talk about that much later. However, stable coins, well, I mean, in the daily it looks well. If we go further and we zoom a little bit, we can see we have a better view then. So just to make clear, the blue line here is the total circulating supply of stablecoins. So everything that is in centralized exchanges, but also decentralized exchanges, impersonal wallets, whatever. Okay, that's something that's insane. It's just rising. It's really just insane. And as you can see here, the yellow curve is indicating the stablecoin reserves on exchanges. Okay, so centralized exchanges like Binance, Coinbase, they have a certain reserve on of stablecoins ready, and it is, yeah, we are maintaining a level right now. We had a decline, but well, it's not really like we had January 21st. You remember that was actually when we arrived to the 33K bottom, and since then, yeah, the stablecoins reserves on exchanges just lifted up, indicating that more stablecoins are arriving on exchanges, and afterwards we had a big pump. So yeah, it looks not really bullish at the moment, but also not that bearish. However, that's something it's concerning me a little bit because the wealth ratio is too high. So that means we are not done yet. Let us take a look, for example, to the hourly view. It's much better if we want to detect some trends here, for example. Okay, so of course you can see here since yesterday our net flow is almost positive, indicating more inflows than outflows, and that's very interesting because that means that it seems they didn't sell everything, or the buyers didn't withdraw their tokens yet. That's also possible, but very uncommon. But well, it's possible. We can see here the wealth ratio in all of you maintains this level here. The green is the top, it's the maximum, and the yellow one is a very high level. It's indicating high sell pressure. Usually, if we have the one and we are touching the one, something is going to happen next, something like a dump or a retrace. And everything that is just touching the red line or even going below the red line, as we had, for example, in the past, here you can see that we had the dump in wealth ratio, all of you, and what happened next? We had this dump. Okay, and then that's really accurate. I like to work with the all of you because it's indicating very accurate what's going on to happen next. Yeah, so we had here, for example, the top. Always it's delayed. Sometimes people are asking me, yeah, Inspo, you said wealth ratio down, but nothing is happening. And I just say, have a little bit of patience because that's part of the wealth ratio. It's a little bit delayed. So, well, a little bit. Sometimes 6 hours, 7 hours, it depends. But you can see here how many times we have started to touch the maximum, and what happened next? We have started to retrace. Also here, for example, many times we touched actually almost the top, and what happened next? We started to dump. Also here, for example. So the sell pressure was rising like here, and we had here almost also playing reaching the top, and yeah, anyway, I mean the wealth ratio all of you maintains a very upper level, and that means we are not ready to pump up, in my opinion. I mean, the market is trading with a low, ultra low volume in the last hours, and so with few, yeah, with a low volume back, you can right now push the price up or down, or down, right? What we can see here as well is the volatility of the stablecoin supply, circulating supply, the blue curve. And that's indicating that, yeah, some whales are cashing out in fiat, like here, for example. But something that's really strange is how fast they refill these gaps in stablecoin supply, for example. The same happens actually to the yellow curve, as mentioned before, that's indicating the exchange reserves, the stablecoin exchange reserves. And we have the same situation here, even if it dump, so indicating that someone sold his assets, received stablecoins, and are withdrawing these stablecoins, they refill it really instantly afterwards. Something that I can't really interpret if that's the exchange ordering this stable coins just to repeal, to maintain a level of stable coins always on the exchange, or if they are trying, as soon as they notice this price action, the bearish price action, to prevent or to resist. That's also possible. And of course, but I don't like to work actually with the block view of wealth ratio. Sometimes it's a good indicator, but for me the most accurate one is the hourly view and the daily view. It depends if we are looking for a short-term price action or midterm. Midterm means it takes days, and that's the case in the wealth ratio daily view. What happened yesterday? Yesterday was actually a very interesting day. I have tweeted about that. today, because if we check what happened yesterday, for example, um, we received a lot. We had a lot of movement there. First of all, we received a lot of spots of Bitcoin on exchanges. We also had some big inflows in stablecoins, and we had in the beginning of the day, that was actually in the in the first 10 hours of the day, um, we had big outflows of stablecoins as well. So it seems they have started to sell what we received Thursday, and Thursday was really huge. Let us change to the daily view just to show you what happened and how much volume that was. So yesterday we had, for example, 37,000 Bitcoin. Um, Common or a usual level is between 25,000 and 30,000. So we had, yeah, 7,000 more than the average. But interesting was February 24th, we received 52,000 Bitcoins. And that's big. That's really big. At the same time, we received 3.2 billion US dollars in stablecoins and a withdrawal of 2.85 billion US dollars in stablecoins. So, indicating here, that's very interesting. I will show you that this move here between the 23rd and the 24th correlates with some balanced change of market makers. So in my opinion, they have sold, and at the same moment when we arrived the 34, they have started to buy afterwards immediately. But also here I will show you that. However, big volume happened here. You remember I have mentioned that we received in January huge amount of Bitcoin. That was when we reached actually our low level of 33K. In my opinion, we didn't distribute all these coins, and in my opinion, we didn't distribute these coins as well. Okay, due to the volume. I mean, even if we had more volume here, but what's happening here, it's really poor. It's poor quality. We can also check who sent all these Bitcoins, for example, and we can see here Bitfinex with 5,300 Bitcoins. That was actually it seems that was a whale from Bitfinex that have started to dump the price to 34. That matches as well. It's very interesting if we start to check what is doing Bitfinex. It looks like the Bitfinex inflows are another indicator for a dump. If you check here, we had here a 4,000 Bitcoin inflow in Bitfinex, we dumped. We had here 4,300 Bitcoin inflow on Bitfinex, we dumped. The day after, 3,400, we dumped. We had here 5,300, we dumped. So it's really interesting. On the other side, they have started to generate some buy pressure from Binance, it seems. We had a big outflow afterwards. So, yeah, something we should have in mind, but Bitfinex is here playing a bigger role as usual, of course. And another very interesting chart is, for example, who is the big players in stablecoins, for example. I mean, that looks very chaotic maybe for you, of course, I guess. For me, the most interesting one are actually this year. Yeah, We had here Gemini, we have here FTX, Bitfinex, Coinbase, and Binance. Binance is yellow, you can see, and that matches to the whale alerts I got in the last few days. We had some big outflows, almost 500 million. We see here Gemini, they rised in stable coins. And FTX, very interesting, is in a downward trend related to the stablecoins, while Bitfinex here is rising as well. So a rising stablecoins is a potential money to buy assets. And the opposite, of course, if the stablecoin, if we are detecting bigger stablecoin outflows, that means they sold their spot for stablecoins, for example, or in other case, they did some future trades and yeah, they cashed out with stablecoins as well. Let us make another check here because I like to see what miners are doing. And also here, very interesting, for example, oops, let us check the daily version. And also here, it's very interesting what we are seeing because check that's really interesting. This line here is the miner's reserve in Bitcoin. It means if they got, for example, here it seems they were finished with some blocks in mining and they received then some Bitcoins. They sold some, they got new one, and they have started to sell here. At the moment, it looks very interesting because if you check on the other side a little bit the price action, these guys have started to sell the top. That's really accurate. At the moment, as you can see here as well, while the price lift up, miners have stopped to sell. So in case it seems these guys are waiting to get an upper price level to keep selling, but as you can see, they are selling. The question is, are they going to sell more? If so, they will generate more sell pressure. But this here was very interesting for me. Also, how they stopped to sell, and I would say this is showing a little bit that these guys are a little bit in fear, maybe. But it's at the moment we have to check them more. That's the daily view, but when I checked that, it was like a big surprise to see how accurate they started to sell the top. Like they knew that that was the top actually. So let us go further to option trading. What is happening there? I will show you. I would say let us talk about the next coming expiries. Well, at the moment, for the expiries, for example, tomorrow, who cares, really? Low volume. We have the bigger lots here. We have at 40 to 38K, the biggest volume. Looks more bearish than bullish, but nothing we can work with it. The same for 28th. That's Monday. Okay. Yeah, almost puts here indicating they are expecting less than 39K. Yeah, it's very close to our current level. Interesting is becoming, for example, the March 4th expiry as the first March expiry, and we can detect here a little bit more volume. And due to the fact that these guys are spreading puts and calls, I would say that many of these calls and puts are related to some strategies. I think strategies because these guys are expecting rising volatility, but even then, low volume. The biggest volume we have here is calls at 39K, indicating that these guys are expecting a price above of 39K until March 4th. However, that's not big. Um, yeah, and of course, March 25th, nothing big at the moment. We can check if we see with open interest if we have a better view then. I like volume because if we have a big volume in certain instrument, that could indicate that some big whales are behind. While the open interest, it's interesting to see where the most option traders are expecting the nice price action, but yeah. So in such case, we see here again, yeah, 39K for tomorrow. We will see here 39K for Monday, and then it's going to be very interesting because for the March 4th, we have a lot of calls um, in upper 40s, but on the same time, a lot of puts in lower 30s. So first of all, we have to check if any strategies are behind. I would say some of them are related to strategies, but however, it's very widespread. And I would think these guys are expecting for the first week in March a rising volatility. At the moment here for March 25th, that's going to be a big one. The biggest position here in calls are at 50,000. On the other side, the biggest position in puts are at 30K. I can imagine that those here are related together as a strategy, just also here to minimize the risk of loss. But if we keep looking here, puts are really big. I would say they are expecting much more a bearish price action also in March than. Oh, let me see. Okay, I was checking on this. Okay, this part. No, let me see. We have, of course, okay, 100,000. We had here 70,000, but the biggest one keeps being the 50,000, and for puts, the 30K. So that's something, if I check a little bit the open interest related to the March 25th, I would say we have to wait a little bit more and to see. And actually, after the March 4th, many traders are going to shift to the March 25th. But what I'm seeing here looks more bullish than bearish, to be clear. So, but of course, even the last strategies that I have checked were more bullish than bearish. Okay, so to be honest, even if I'm still bearish at the moment short term, but it seems that open traders see a possible bottom very soon and are flipping to bullish. That's very interesting because, as you can see, we don't need to talk about 100,000, 120,000, and so on and so forth. I mean, 70,000. This kind of lots are usually related to some strategies, okay? Where I can imagine they have bought here at 20K also this 200 to 1,420 lots, for example, or even here at 25K. Even if these 25K, it's very interesting because that's my favorite level. Actually, I'm predicting 24K to 26K since last year, since last summer actually, because we have the biggest CME gap still unfilled there. And you know, derivatives, future trading, and even also option trading is becoming more important for this market because we are the biggest market volume are related to derivatives and not to spot anymore. We can check also the activity, what happened in the last 24 hours. And also interesting always is to see what kind of trades we did had in the last 24 hours. But as every weekend, it's low volume. We are talking about here 10 million. For me, it's very interesting when I start to see some trades with 30 to 40 million volume. We have here for tomorrow actually puts at 39K. So these guys are expecting to have a price level below of 39K until tomorrow. Yeah, I mean, that's possible. Okay, that's not a big deal, right? Also here for Monday, 39K, I guess both are the same owner. 39K puts also 10 million. Then we have here for March 4, 8 million or almost 9 million calls for 39K, indicating that this trader is expecting a price above of 39K. We have here 44K call for March 11th and 40K call for tomorrow. Okay, so in case we have our usual extreme price action in the weekend. So of course we can go down, we can go up. Yeah, but it's low volume. It's not indicating a lot, in my opinion. If we check here, for example, we can see that they closed a lot of puts at 39K. Of course, they had some new purchases there, and the same with calls. They closed calls at 40K, and we received some new one. But nothing where I would say, wow, it's showing a big trend or something that let us that allow us actually predict the next price action. Um, yeah, we have here the 50K as mentioned before, and we have here the 30K. This two looks like to be the walls. Actually, here the call wall, here the put wall, but it's too wide. We have to check the max pain, the general max pain. That means for all expiries after our last expiry last Friday, lifted up to 42K. Interesting at the moment, not useful. If we check the expiry for tomorrow, for example, we see that calls are making loss and by 37%, and puts are in loss by 51%. So in case we have a big whale behind of this puts, he will try to push the price down. In other way, if we have some big whales behind these calls, he will try to maintain the price. That's something we can't see here, unfortunately. But yeah, as mentioned, 27th. I mean the open interest for the 27th is almost 40 million. That's nothing. For Monday, it's 17, 18 million. That's absolutely nothing. It's becoming more interesting for March 4th, as mentioned. We have 550 million there, but March 25th, with more than 2 billion US dollars in open interest, is going to be really interesting. and we have to check. So yeah, also we can see here that the trades are more concentrated in the March 4th expiry, something that we have to check in the next few days, because you can see also here, even if the green bar is bigger, indicating more calls are arriving than puts, the gap is not really big. So we have to check what's happening here in the next few days. And let us take a look to the future trading. We can see here, well, I mean, yeah, some of the future traders are expecting a dump. Some of them on FTX, for example, are more bullish. At Binance, yeah, looks bullish. Gate, so it looks they are flipping to bullish at the moment. Something that's not surprising me, because, I mean, if we check this candle here, uh, we we went down to 38.9, and we retraced very quick, and then we have started to lift up. I mean, of course, if I am checking the candles, I would say crazy, the market is bullish, right? But as soon as I check the volume, it's indicating me it's useless. It's really useless. As soon as a whale with the 2000 Bitcoin wants to dump the price with such a volume, he can dump the market very quick to a price even below 36K. Okay, and the question is, do we have some buyers ready to prevent that? At the moment, I can see that. As mentioned here, as indicated, and let us check here. Let us go back to the overview. The green line, the green curve, is indicating stablecoin inflows. You can see we had 25th, so yesterday, we had really large stablecoin inflows. We are talking about 230 million, 250 million. Today, it's everything below of 57 million. That's nothing. While Bitcoin inflows are arriving. So we have to be very careful, because, in my opinion, these guys are letting lift up the price to dump it afterwards, to get a better price to start to sell. It's possible that these guys are selling already, okay, because that would also explain what happened here, because due the low volume, as soon as they start to dump some 30, 40 bitcoins, the price starts to react very quick, as we can see here. Then they stop to sell, and some buyers, I guess retailers, are starting to buy Bitcoin, and that's what happened. So we have to be very careful today, even if the price action looks with higher lows. It looks at least not that bearish, and future traders are expecting a pump soon. I would be very careful. But also here, to be honest, we have to be careful, because we don't know if these bitcoins are ready, yeah, to dump the price, or if they use this bitcoin for, yeah, future trading or whatever. We have to be careful. But in case they would start to sell these bitcoins, we will dump for sure. That's not a question. So we need really to be very careful. So as mentioned, these guys are, in my opinion, a little bit in risk. demanding at the moment a little bit more longs than shorts, even if we have here, but also here it seems it's flipping at the moment a little bit more to bearish than to bullish. We can take a look to the long shorts of the last 12 hours. We see we received more longs than shorts, but also here the difference is not really big. Who is really bullish is Bitfinex. In the last 12 hours, 57%. Okay, not bad. Let us check here. I have, yeah, I have my Bitfinex chart right there, and we can see here. Well, they liquidated a lot of shorts. Actually, here it seems big short liquidation, short liquidation, short liquidation, short liquidation. Then we had some long liquidations here. So many were just saying, look, Bitfinex ways are longing. I'm not sure if these guys are longing. They got liquidated here. I wouldn't say these guys were longing, but maybe retailers on Bitfinex were longing. However, the short curve here is showing it maintains very flat, while the long is lifting up a little bit. That matches to what we have seen here on CoinGlass. So let me see another thing. What we are seeing here is actually the market makers. Some people laughed at me because they said, how can you say these guys are the market makers? Well, I did an analysis last year about these guys. I show you again here. If these guys are not the market makers, please show me who is the market maker. Because they knew very well, they accumulated the whole way. I mean, since September 2018, they accumulated really big here. I can imagine who that was. Institutional, an American one. I like this guy, not very much. And they accumulated the whole time until February 2021. And then they have started to sell. Very, as you can see here, that was a very aggressive distribution. And they knew very well when to start to accumulate again. And that was May 17th. Okay, when we reached our bottom there. Well, it was not our bottom, but at the moment that was the local bottom. And they have started to initiate some fake rallies. So everything that's common in the accumulation schematic. And since then, okay, they are accumulated, and since then we are maintaining a range. And I have my theory why that's happening. In my opinion, these guys have a big problem because the demand is so weak now with the crypto ban in China and with the regulation coming. Many people are in fear. As I mentioned several times already, retailers are gone. Okay, I can show you here. That's the market exchange activities, okay, of centralized exchanges. You can see on what level we are playing at the moment. It's very low. It's even lower than last summer. It's really low, and that's indicating we don't have a lot of retailers active trading in the market. And if you check what these guys did, they have started to sell almost here, almost the last top. Not that good like the miners did, but they have started to sell. They did a little break. They have started to, they sold it seems, and they have started to buy afterwards. Okay, so indicating it was very interesting because someone just tried to prevent, and these guys just dumped even more. Then they have started to buy. Just how much? From 10,000 Bitcoin. And here they have started to dump very hard, as you can see. And in my opinion, this was related to option trading. These guys, because that's part of my theory actually. As the demand is very low at the moment, as soon as they try to lift up the price to attract retailers, they are failing. Okay, because we can see that many times when they tried, for example, to bring the price up, like we are doing here, for example, if you check, we are here at the moment. Okay, we can say, let me show you that we are actually here, and then we have here something like a trading range. And the problem is, even if they start to pump, retailers are not buying, not that much as they need. So for them, their goal is to sell the way up. So usually the retailers will take over. Okay, they got some FOMO and they start to buy because they want to go to to jump in the moon train. And every time it failed. It failed because the demand is even in this. I mean, we are talking about a trading range of 39, 38, 37,000 dollars, and yeah, they are failing. So in my opinion, that's part of my theory. These guys are using option trading and future trading to make some profit, and that would explain why they are maintaining also here a certain range since last summer, because they tried to sell, and every time when they tried to sell, they received a little bit, how can I say, they cannot sell that much like they did in 2021. Okay, as I showed you before, the distribution after February to May was really aggressive, and even then they could sell to an upper price level because their resistance was big. That's not the case anymore. As soon as they start to sell very aggressive, the price dump, and that's a problem for them. And so what they are doing is buying, selling all their time, and so they need an alternative way, maybe to exit. And a good way for them is use future trading or use, for example, in case that you are using Bitcoin as collateral, or option trading. So that's why I have much more focus at the moment to option trading to figure out what's going to happen next. But yeah, unfortunately, at the moment, I didn't see any big moves there. But we need to see. Let us talk about the exchange walls. Yeah, that's Coinbase. Okay, we have maximum volume. Okay, we can make this check first. Let us reduce or lift up a little bit more the volume. Okay, so what do we see here? Okay, we have a little sell order at 40k with 140 bitcoins, and even at 41k with 123 bitcoins. Nothing big. That's really not big. Okay, so in case they will start to pump a little bit hard, that's it. So, but interesting is, if we go a little bit lower and we can see the buy orders, and we have a cluster of different buy orders. I mean, look at that. And the biggest one is at 30K with, well, I would say, yeah, we have there 700 Bitcoins waiting, but all the way down is full of orders, buy orders. And usually, as they did here, for example, that's something that it's indicating you these guys are expecting something big. That matches also to my expectations. We are not done. We are absolutely not done. Even these, if we are zooming out, it would look like a dead cat bounce, right? But yeah, we have to see, in my opinion, we will see some big dump soon. But I'm missing the solid data that let me prove that. Except waste ratio, I mentioned that, and the Bitcoin inflows indicating the origin of these Bitcoins came from whales, from big whales. But however, we have to check a little bit more. It's too early right now to predict something. I'm still bearish, okay? Um, as soon as I see some strong signals, some strong bullish signal, I will flip to bullish immediately. Okay, I don't care. I just care to make money. I don't care if I make money um, in an uptrend or downtrend. I really don't care. But also my expectations, because of the situation we have with Ukraine, Russia war, with the monetary policy. I mean, even them, we have to see. I mean, if the Ukraine and Russia war is going to escalate even more, and if they remove, for example, Russia from SWIFT system, and all this stuff starts to escalate, that's going to be very hard, because we will have much more inflation afterwards, or we will generate more inflation because of that. Mm, and if that's the case, that could be very bearish, because the Fed could go a step forward in monetary policy and even, yeah, raise the rates for the hikes for their rates. We have to see. But that's something we should have in mind. So let us check Binance. Also here, that's a huge cluster of buy orders. And also here, in my opinion, these guys are expecting something big, really big. But yeah, we have to see. Okay, hello. So also here, let me reduce a little bit. We can see here almost no volume, no resistance in upper level, but we still have also here again, like Coinbase, 30K. That's something very interesting, but my opinion is, if they are waiting for what? What is the event that's so special that would let dump the market maybe $10,000, $8,000? That's my question. Something is going to happen, and as mentioned several times, these guys have information advantage. They know much more than we know, and they are very good networked, also with politicians. So we really have to see. We have here Bitfinex, and Bitfinex also very interesting. You can remember I have tweeted about that. George was also tweeting about that. We can make No, I show you that. Yeah. We can see here they placed a cluster, a really cluster of little orders. 35, 34, 36, 32 bitcoins, 78. And yeah, that's huge. And the same here. A lot of cluster and lower levels. The biggest one at 22K. Wow, that's something, that's a long, long way down, right? But yeah, you can see here, that's part of Bitfinex. These guys are controlling the price. We have just surrounding the current price with a lot of orders. We go to FTX Perp, and what's very interesting is that these guys are limiting the price up, yeah, 40K with almost 2,500 Bitcoin. So, and even then they have another wall at 41K. And as you can see here, again, a cluster of, I mean, that it's telling you you can pump the price, no problem, until 40K. But that's it. So it's very interesting what these guys are doing. So 40K should be, if they maintain this window right there, 40K should be our local top. And Steve was mentioning that he was saying head and shoulders. I will show you that in a larger time frame. But however, also these guys have placed, yeah, different walls below 37.5. We start here with mid volume at 36, but the biggest one is at 44. Yeah, let us say 35K. So we have here right now a trade range between 35K and 40K. Interesting because also that matches a little bit to some option trades. Also that is something we should have in mind, but yeah, as said, I don't think so that we will go up more than 40K. Not yet. Okay? Maybe they will start to remove this wall, then it's going to happen, and it could be a very bullish signal then, but right now, that's it. Let us check Kraken. Ah, interesting. Kraken also limiting at 40K and also limiting at 35K. Well, that looks like a trade strategy. In my opinion, if they maintain with these walls, I would say we are very close to the local top, and it would make sense, yeah, to short, I would say. But that's not an advice, okay? Because the last time I have streamed, one guy was really pissed because maybe he thought I'm your financial advisor. No, I'm just telling you my opinion. My trade strategy is I was longing all the time up actually because actually I was yeah feeling that the sell pressure wasn't that high. They are yeah waiting for something, and with low leverage I have started to long. I did some gain, nothing big, but it was okay. And I'm actually waiting. I have some orders here at 39.9 and waiting to get 39.9 to short, because I guess we will see something like a bull trap. Even then, we would have an olive view. Hopefully, you can see that. Otherwise, I will try. Or let me use this view, maybe it's better one. I'll show you what I was telling today. We have the right shoulder here. Oops. Come on. We have the head here. And we are doing, hopefully, the right shoulder here. So I would expect something like go to 39.6, okay? So something maybe a little bit more, and then we should start to dump. I don't feel really comfortable here with trading view. Okay, we have that here. Oh no, that doesn't make sense. Well, come on. Well, doesn't matter. I would expect something like. And as we did this pump here, just following SPX, we have some gaps there. That means as soon as we start to lose 38, we will dump hard. I would say to 36. 36.5 would be my next target. I have predicted that yesterday, but yeah, just related and based to other informations. So that's something I would expect, and that's something I'm going to trade. Okay, we know that we have here at 40k, we have these walls on FTX and Kraken, these big ones. So even if they try to pump up, 40k is really the max at the moment. We have to see if they remove these walls or not. Okay, that's very, very important. I will check in case I'm not sleeping and in case they are not removing these walls, or in case they remove the walls, I will treat that and also mention that in Discord. So, but what Steve was mentioning was this big head and shoulders, something that is possible. It's a dirty head and shoulders. It's not the best one, but it would be possible. If that's the case, it would also match to the 40k, okay? Because afterwards, and that would be a big one. A big one means we would retest the 33k. That's going to be then a big one if we have a rising volume, of course, and we are not dumping like what we did here. That was no, that was here actually. That was a very poor quality dump, indicating that was okay for all exchanges, also for Bitfinex Whales to let dump the price, and we have seen that Bitfinex Whales are dumping. So that's something that could happen again. Okay? They dump, they sell their bitcoins while they are shorting. That's a nice one. They can make a lot of money with that. Yeah, that's it. So you know now 40k till 35k. That's at the moment our trading range. We are very close here to the 40k. So everything above a 39.5 is interesting, an interesting entry to short. And in case we start to dump, I would expect at least at 35.5, 35.8 to retrace. Not to bounce, but to retrace. Okay, maybe to go up again to 36.7, for example, maintain a little bit here, okay, and then dump even more. So we have to see, but that's something we should have in mind. It gives us at least a good idea how to trade the market right now. So that's it. I will take a look if you have some questions. So from YouTube, is the market bullish or bearish? It's bearish. At the moment, it's bearish. Low volume. The last pumps we did were just following SPX. I guess they are using algos because it's almost impossible to be that accurate. As soon as SPX, I mean, what happened at XPX? They did a short squeeze. That's everything. And the same happened to Bitcoin. Okay. Today we know that the DXY, so the US dollar index, was a fake rally. Okay, I mean, check where they have started. They have started here. Check here. That's exactly the same. I mean, look how accurate Bitcoin traded. They have started to dump, and we maintained a little bit such a sideways run. And from here, SPX have started to lift up, indicating that whales on SPX wanted to squeeze these shorts. US dollar index did the last fake pump. That was a scam pump. Immediately afterwards, that was a pump and dump. Dumped hard. Okay? And that was the situation here. And you can see that's so accurate. That's SPX here. That's Bitcoin here. It did exactly the same. Exactly the same. Only weekends they are making different things, but that was like, I don't know. I mean, I can imagine that one trader is sitting, I mean, of course it's possible, but and pressing two buttons at the same time. Bitcoin SPX, Bitcoin SPX, Bitcoin SPX. It's, I don't know. It's so stupid. It's so insane because it's clearly doing exactly the same. The difference, if you check here, SPX had failed to had its breakout here of his resistance, and on Bitcoin they triggered a big sell pressure. Okay, I mean this volume was really beautiful. The first time after, well, I mean, even this volume wasn't that big, but it's really a long time ago I have seen such a big volume that was even bigger, but something like February 4th. So it seems some whales wanted to have a price below 39k. Puts 39k. You remember? So also it's a little bit confirming me that whales are playing much more right now with the options and using their huge bags to manipulate the price action. So another question from you. Do you think the last 2 days of February we can see big dump or it will be sideways? In my opinion, big dump. I make it very short. In my opinion, big dump. Big dump, we are very soon to see a big dump. And it seems as the March in options is not looking that bad. It's possible that we lift up hitting maybe mid 40s and even 50. Just because they just placed a lot of calls there. But for them, I think it's easier to dump than to lift up, because lift up means they have to buy Bitcoin, and at the moment, for institutionals at least, that could be a risk, except they know exactly how their regulation framework is looking like. That's possible, okay? But I don't know. Another YouTube question. Hello, what's the website you see this was? Thanks. The website, the name of the website, I show you just the URL. It's Trading Light. Can I? No, I just open another window and show you Trading Light. So, yeah, Trading Light. It's really useful. I like that. Even if you start to zoom in, you can see the orders right there. And spoofing activity. Something I like to see on Bitfinex, for example. If you zoom in, you see how these guys are spoofing and manipulating the price. Also very interesting, since last week I used this order book thermovision. It's very interesting because it shows you very nice how they manipulate the price. So for example, right now they are trying to bring the price a little bit more down. So they are rising now the opposite, now really a sell pressure, buy pressure is declining, sell pressure is rising, and they maintain the price in the level they want. That's how it works. So yeah. So trading, I'm a big fan of Trading Light. That's really, and they are actually making this app better and better from time to time. Another YouTube question. Can Feds not hike their rates if current geopolitical issue keep worse? Why not? I mean, for the Fed, it's more important to stabilize the economy. We know we have an energy crisis. Supply chain is a problem since a while due to the situation with COVID in China. Now imagine it it becomes worse with the time, and inflation starts to rise even more. What's their option? They have to do something. I mean, of course, they can switch back to cheap money and force companies to pay more to their employees, for example, to neutralize some inflation impact. But even then, that's not going to help, not midterm. So the problem right now, that's worst case scenario. It's a good question because it's a worst case scenario for Fed and even the ECB, for example, just 2 days ago, with the start of the war in Ukraine, said times are changing and the ECB has to adapt. That means they are now talking and discussing to hike rates in the EU as well. So I don't think then that the Fed will stop to make that. I think if they notice that even with their tapering and even with the hike rates, the inflation keeps rising, they will go a step further, and ECB will do that as well. The question is, how will China react to that? Because China's economy is weakening at the moment, and they requested many times now to flip to cheap money again in the US because they need, of course, demand. And also, what the Fed is doing, it's not just to stabilize the economy, but it has also a geopolitical aspect. I don't know if that's in their advantage to help China and flip back to cheap money. I'm not sure. So another question. Do you want to share any of your speculations about looming cyber attack threats in the near-term future? Well, I mean, no, I'm not going to show you an email from financial institute, but I can tell you that we received last week after the Russians, actually they say it was the Russians. I'm not sure. I don't know, and I don't care. But they attacked the IT systems of the Ukraine government and banks with a wiper software. That means they delete all the content of your hard disks, and they were very successful with it. A day after, um, banks receive from Ministry of yeah IT. We have in Germany we have such something like an institution specialized in IT, where they make analysis of the situation right now. If they detect some holes or gaps in the systems to let you know, and so on and so forth. And they sent a warning of what happened in the Ukraine. I mean, I have said that the IMF is simulating such case since months, leading by Israel. And nations like Germany, France, US, Canada, and so on joined this simulation. And I mean, they would not simulate something that's utopic, right? So I have said, be careful, have some cash at home, because I'm expecting that we will have something similar in the West countries as well. I mean, the US has announced they want to attack with, yeah, well, a cyber attack Russia soon. That's almost a war declaration. If that happens, we will see a cyber war as well. And that's something it's worrying me a lot. It's not only bank systems, it's a lot more. And we have in Europe at least, I don't know if I guess the US have something like, we have a program that calls CRITIS. And CRITIS is a program that allows countries to secure critical infrastructure. So also the banking sector. And also we should have in mind infrastructure, critical infrastructure, everything that we need to have a good working economy is something that would be the target of such cyber attacks, and we have to be very careful with that, really careful. So if you are able to have some cash at home, if you are able, yeah, to be a little bit equipped, just have some water at home, just have, do that. Another YouTube question. BTC is roaming about 39k to 40k range. What next move you are expecting? 36k or 46k? Well, I guess you missed my exchange walls. I show you that again. We have on FTX a huge wall at 40k. Yeah, 39.9 to 40k. And Kraken, I was wondering, because I have detected some stablecoin inflows to Kraken from Bitfinex. And I was wondering a little bit why. Maybe that explains something. And we have on Kraken also a wallet 40k. And both are limiting the way down of 35k. So I would say 35k is, yeah, 35k will be actually the local bottom. At least it should retrace there. It's depending on how big the dump is going to be, but at the moment we are trading with low volume, so if they make the same like last week, such a poor quality dump, that would be sad. But well, um, so let me see. I believe ECB are delaying the hike again. Yesterday news, I believe, can Fed following ECB? No, it's just absolutely different. That's the only thing where I agree with the ECB, because they asked them a few weeks ago if the Fed is going to hike rates. Why is ECB not following? And they said, well, it's a different situation, different economy. The US has less unemployment rate, and I don't think that ECB is going or Fed is going to follow ECB. I mean, it would be interesting. I missed this news from yesterday, it seems. My news was from a few days ago, where I just have heard from some ECB officials saying that they are going, or they are discussing at the moment, to hike their rates, and the ECB as well. Alif, you referral code from for Trading Light, if any. Well, I have one, but I will post the referral code on YouTube. Thank you very much, mate, for the question. I really appreciate that. So that's it. Does someone have another question? If not, I would like to close the session for today. It seems I don't see anyone writing in the chat at the moment. Okay, that's great. Alif, I'm going to post my referral code just afterwards. And yes, folks, have a nice weekend. Um, Stay safe, and yeah, big love to all of you. Okay, chill. Don't rush to trades. Okay, have a trade strategy. I hope I provided enough data now to let you make your own trade strategy. I have said what I'm going to do, and yeah, we will see if that plays out. Okay, so bye bye, and we will see you soon.